Hey Axis and Allies players, the good captain here, and welcome to Germany's first turn in this Axis and Allies 1914 game, out-of-box rules, out-of-box setup. Okay, so the Russians took their turn. We'll very quickly go through this. They bought 6 infantry and a fighter. It's a fairly stock purchase. Sometimes I see 5 infantry and arty and a fighter, but I don't have too much to say about that. And in their move, they consolidate, as you can see. I'll just start from the beginning. So here's the setup, right? So I'll slowly cycle. So they leave a blocker in Ukraine, consolidate Belarus, leave a blocker in Poland, and consolidate Belarus, evacuate Livonia, consolidate Belarus, Moscow to Belarus, blocker for Livonia. Okay, well, they're just bringing their troops down from the north. And then over here in the east, it's to me, it's only like, what are they going to do with Sevastopol? Because I'm starting to feel like the reason you want to instigate the revolution as the Central Powers is because of Sevastopol. That's and he reinforced it. Okay, and he activated Romania. So yeah, no, I think the problem with the reason, I think the real reason you probably want to, as the CP, instigate the revolution is because of Sevastopol. And if you don't, it means this is an avenue of attack for the British. Namely, they can stack up units in Persia and force the CP to defend Sevastopol and Mesopotamia. And it's kind of a nightmare. It's very difficult. Um, it's really hard. I've had this happen in a game already. When they build 1 infantry, you essentially have to build 2. I know that doesn't make sense because infantry attack less than they defend, but when armor is in play, and it's kind of a mess. Anyway, I'm not going to hang my hat on that. It's just a feeling. I'm going to play this game like I want to try to instigate the revolution, though. I'm saying this as somebody who's pretty settled on the fact that if the CP decide to kill Russia, Russia can set a timer until it's dead. It's a fairly foregone conclusion, in my opinion, at this point in time. That's how I feel about it. Okay, so let's get to the current game. Blockers in this game are more effective than they are in a standard version of Axis and Allies, since air units are basically land units that move to spaces. Although they can fly over water, they have to stay in the territory they end up in. You can't hit and run. This means to clear that blocker, we'd have to use at least 2 infantry and an artillery to have a chance. And exposing your artillery to destruction is ridiculous, in my opinion. That's a core unit, and you shouldn't throw it away or put it at risk. Not only that, but when I examine the options for the Russians, it looks like they have enough to be able to counterattack that and protect their capital if the Austro-Hungarians moved to Ukraine. At least my crude math, yeah, it looks right. So my purchases Germany is all infantry and 2 fighters, save 2. You can see it here, in the bottom right. 7 infantry, 2 fighters, save 2. Oh, and let's not forget Africa. When you're Germany, always do Africa first. And my stock move here is, this is what, my 7th or 8th game, I can't remember. Togoland moves Nigeria, Cameroon moves Belgian Congo, German East Africa moves Belgian Congo, Southeast Africa stays put. And the concept here is longevity. I am trying to survive my units for as long as I can. I want these Brits to stay down here as long as I can keep them down here. Money is a second priority. Primarily, I want to keep my forces alive. Second, I want to draw off British troops. And third, we want to make some money. I'm playing the long game down here. If I moved this infantry artillery to Angola, then there'd be a 2 infantry, 1 artillery attack. And just to show you the odds on that, it's not huge, but it can be very decisive very quickly, and I'm not looking to get into a decisive engagement yet. Average tough swings +1 in favor of the British. There's a 41% chance the British wipe us out in 1 round of combat, and even if we only took 1 casualty, I would lose my artillery. Whereas if I only inflicted 1 casualty, they would lose an infantry. So I don't care for that at all. So we'll stay put. This setup allows us to meet up in Angola. Or if the British move into Angola, we can fight 3 infantry artillery versus 2 infantry artillery, which isn't the best, but I think it's better. Yeah, it's, in my opinion, it's better than just sitting around. But most of the time, the British don't do that. There's bigger fish to fry. There's territories all over the place that need to get picked up. But we'll see what he does. Anyway, that's a distraction. Okay, so up here on the east front, what we're going to do is leave 4 infantry in Prussia. And I leave 4, I could leave 1, right, to prevent his blocker from getting lucky, killing the guy there, and getting unlucky and not killing him. I could leave, I could do that, but I don't want to create a contested zone in Prussia. So 4 is certainly enough. It's like a 93% chance we kill him if he tries to create a contested zone and freeze my forces there. So the next thing we'll do is send assets towards the east front. We're doing a kill Russia first. So we're going to stack up all units from Hanover and Berlin into Silesia. And this is the tip of the spear. Reinforcements will come from purchases. Everyone else is going to throw in to Belgium. This is a French-aligned country, so they're essentially French units. Let's just go kill them. And Munich moves to Alsace. Okay. And I'm looking at this. Usually I hit Venice with the Austro-Hungarians, and I've had battles go upside down there, and then you have to send the Germans into Switzerland to, convince the Italians not to stack up on Venice and kick the Austro-Hungarians out of there. So I'm already pretty happy with this move. Okay, now units in Kiel come forward to Ruhr, and that's because I'm going to try this out for the first time. And that is an attack against the home fleet with every conceivable German naval unit. I deliberated over rationalizing why I'm making this decision in this game. I'll just shorten the whole thing and say I'm not going to talk about it. I'll say I just ran a ton of numbers and I have a theory. So part of the fun of running these games up to the point where I make my 10-part series is experimenting. So we're gonna roll 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 dice. God, we're gonna roll 9 dice at mines. 9 AA shots essentially. I expect certainly we're gonna take a hit. Might even take 2, but that's okay. As long as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units make it in, there's I think a 93% chance we wipe all these boats out, and the main objective is to get a British transport. We want at least 1 British transport, so this is the most nerve-wracking part of this game, but yeah, I'm committing to this, so yeah, this is where some honesty is required. Since mines are rolled immediately, you can actually stop your attack, but you're not supposed to. So all my units are going in here no matter what. Okay, the first 2 subs made it. 1 mine, against the battleship, so he's still up. So we still actually have all units that can attack. But I said, this is my combat move, so I gotta do this. Okay, they busted 1 of the subs, but the last sub. So this fleet is going to be dead. The British fleet. I mean, unless there's some sort of weird skewed dice roll. Let's just run the numbers real quick. And yes, I know my battleship's already hit. His is not, so this is going to be to my favor. But it should still be, in the high 90s. So if you account for the hit that the battleship has taken, then it's going to be in the low 90s or the high 80s, and that's fine. So, or it's not fine, but it could still happen. We're on the spectrum of possibility, that's for sure. Okay, so we have 2 battles, right? Make sure I didn't screw this up. We did Africa. Don't forget Africa. Yes, I'm really hoping that the Belgians only hit par. It would be terrible if they got all 4 hits. Yes, this is a very interesting thing about Axis and Allies 1914. You don't have to engage, right? To anybody who's played this before, you don't actually have to do any attack. And that is, this is a tactic that was first evolved in Europe and Pacific, the originals. It's called sub-stalling. You could move a sub in there, surface, not engage in combat, and create a hostile sea zone, preventing the loading of transports. And they seem to have brought this back, but yes, we are going to attack. So we'll resolve that first, and they're wiped out. And they only did one hit on us, but our battleship's already hit, so we'll drop a sub. So that's a fairly, I'd say that's a fairly stock, that's fairly stock. And so, yeah, now the British are kind of, they still have a transport, but we've, made it, they're going to have to invest in some boats, which is what I want them to do. I want them to invest in boats, not land units, because this is a huge emphasis on land warfare. Very little. This is part of my argument. I don't want to get off on too much of a tangent, but there's no convoy centers. Air units don't attack naval units, so you need to get anybody who plays this game needs to wrap their head around the fact that naval units just aren't as potent, or the outcomes are not as potent. The water serves as a highway for unit troop movement, right? And the CP are not going to contest the Entente's troop movements for the most part. Despite the victory we just won, we're still a shadow. We don't hold a candle to what this Entente have. The Entente own the ocean. Make them buy transports and hopefully warships, and sink capital into the ocean where there's no money made. Anyway, battle in Belgium. Yes, wipe. Ugh, they shot up by 1. Okay, that's fine. Okay. German non-combat move. And this is just there is no non-combat move in 1914. So we'll place our units. We have 41 for next turn, and that concludes the turn. So next up is the Ottomans. The French and the British will go, but I think we're so far so good. Okay, we'll see you.